12 key points you need to know about the new itemization changes. Number 1, only sacred items in World Tier 3. And yes, in World Tier 4, only ancestral items. That means if you obo gamble in World Tier 4, it should straight be ancestral items out of the rip. Number 2, ancestral legendaries only have 3 affixes. What? That doesn't mean they're nerfed, because there's something like tempering and masterworking we talk about later that brings it up to 5 affixes and more. But not only that, number 3 plays a big role here, because the single aspects, the 3 only you have, get buffed. Let's say you usually get 26 all stats on boots when you 5 times upgrade it. Well, now the base item already has 40 all stats. You usually get plus 20% vulnerable damage. It's plus 40% vulnerable damage right now, unupgraded. So every single affix is carrying more weight. They're more worth it. While you have 1 less, but you can go up to 5. More to that in point 11 and 12. Good news for our 925 enjoyers and uber uniques. Number 4, ancestral legendaries drop as 925 from level 95 plus opponents on. And 95 plus opponents should be Nightmare Dungeon 40 to 41. And I think Nightmare Dungeon 40 as a necromancer. Around level 72, 75 is possible if you're experienced and if you have done this already. Maybe you should follow one of the builds on the channel. Which brings us to number 5, and that one is even crazier. Uber uniques have a drop chance already in World Tier 3 from level 55 opponents on. That means as soon as you hit World Tier 3 and go into the overworld, even with level 35, and you're able to kill these opponents, there's the chance 1 out of 7,000 helmets could be a Shaco, a Harlequin crest. And yes, every single Uber unique still drops as a 925 with max rolls. Now you would say, Pony, that's stupid. That's too early. You're probably not going to get it on 55. Where you're going to get it is along the road. Maybe as soon as you hit World Tier 4, maybe as you're about to hit World Tier 4, and maybe with level 18. But there is a chance, and that chance is exciting. Which brings us to number 6. We talked about legendaries and uniques right now, correct? They can be traded now. In-game, yes, you can find a unique, your 10th Litless Wall, and if you don't have a Litless Wall chat, and I have many of them, I can finally hand my fellow necromancers Litless Walls. This could be dangerous and lead to some eBay real money transactions, where people then exchange goods for goods and some thrifty black marketplaces pop up in the internet. But I mean, if you're willing to pay real money for uniques in a computer game that after 3 months get deleted, that's a huge choice. So I like, if it pops up, it pops up. It's good for me as a content creator, for you to share with your friends. If I find an Uber unique I really don't need, I'll respend on Spark it probably. But if I find tons of uniques that I don't need, I'll dole them out to the community. Because why not? Now we're in World Tier 4. We're like level 80 going towards the end game. Something called greater affixes is there. What's a greater affix? That's a normal affix times 1.5. So if crit chance can go up to 30% usually, this special crit chance could be 45% on your weapon. Or if your respective two-handed sword has plus 80 int, it is now plus 120 int. And these greater affixes, they just randomly drop. To compare them, it's like exalted items as in Last Epoch, if you played that game. Now don't worry, we're soon getting to how to get 5 affixes. First, let's quickly talk about aspects, because aspects now get ripped off items by decrafting them, by breaking them down. So you don't have to go for the occultist anymore and break down the weapon. No, you just go to the smith, destroy the weapon, and then in your Codex of Powers, the aspect gets upgraded. Let's say you find a max roll exposed flesh, 50% chance to restore resource. Then your Codex of Power from this point on is 50% chance to restore resource forever. Oh, and did I mention that every single aspect in the game is now in the Codex of Powers? At a lower value, for example, Edgemaster aspect is now 5% instead of 10% base, but every single aspect is there. So you can really overpower Druid, need your Slam, need your Shockwave aspect. It is there. Maybe in the lowest low roll possible. But you can upgrade it, and you can at least use it. Because without it, that, yeah, overpower kind of feels weak on that Shockwave Druid. Number 9, Rejoice for the Gamblers. Item reroll is capped, let's say at 1 million. You can't be really going up to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 million. Yes, you can still reroll affixes, but that is capped. And they removed a lot of materials. So when you're upgrading your potion, I think there's only 2 more flowers instead of 8 different flowers. In general, they got rid of a lot of materials and they made them easier to acquire by killing elites and doing whisper quests. That's fantastic. You're never going to be struggling for Forgotten Souls again. Number 10 is an interesting one because skills on weapons, unique weapons, and general aspects get changed tremendously. We're going from something like only core skills can activate this to every skill could activate this. Look at the weapon. You can cause freeze with a core skill, or you can now cause freeze with whatever damage you do. That is huge. That is on many different aspects that this core skill requirement is now gone and therefore opens up with so much more triggering. Finally, number 11, we're getting to the tempering. And tempering is quite simple explained. You can now put 2 bonus affixes on your weapon with temper manuals. These temper manuals you'll find throughout the world, and they can be very unspecific, like bonus movement speed, bonus evade cooldown reduction, or more specific, giving you a chance to trigger another bone spear, bone splinters cast twice, and other shenanigans, projectile size increase, more projectiles in general. There is a little bit of RNG to it though. Your tempered item has a tempered durability. The first temper is free, and the temper manual provides 4 options, and whatever comes out of the manual will be random. So as you temper, you get one of the 4. If you don't like it, you retemper. And then if you don't like it, you retemper until your temper durability is down. But like this, you can add 2 more affixes to your item, bringing it up to a 5 affix item. That tempering, plus the masterworking we'll talk about in a second, replaces the standard 5 upgrades we used to have. These 5 upgrades are completely gone. Now we actually do temper our things. And from a resource standpoint, it should be very cheap so that we essentially could temper whenever we find a better item. But the idea behind the tempering is that when you find a good item, you really make it fit your build. So with the tempering, you're giving it its own kind of journey. And now to masterworking. That is number 12, the final one. Masterworking gives you plus 12 ranks to your item. Every rank will slightly increase the stat, while the 4th rank will increase 1 affix tremendously. Look at the ring here behind me. Slight increase in all 3 affixes, slight increase in all 3 affixes, and then boom, life gets a huge boost. And the interesting part in this is that you can reset the masterworking. So you've done it 12 times, you didn't get the upgrades you wanted, reset it. And on top of that, the masterworking can hit the tempered aspect. So you have a 12% chance to cast a bonus bone spear, boom, you go up to 20, 40. That, like, if you're lucky, you get like 30 to 40% bonus chance for a bone spear, for example. That's absolutely crazy. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments below. And if you haven't heard about the new endgame yet, here's a video and tempering and masterworking broken down even more in depth. Enjoy.